Listen up. It's time for a politically entertaining exclusive interview.
Joining us today on Politically Entertaining, she, in my opinion, is one of the hardest working women in fashion. She has a blog that you can find and follow at youngatstyle.com. Along with Dawn Rankin, she's also started an online women's clothing and accessory shop, Shop Inside Out. You can visit shopinsideout.com to check them out. Lashoundra Young, thank you for joining us today.
Hey, I am excited to be here. I am excited.
That's good, because we are very, very excited to have you here doing all these different things down there. You're staying busy.
Yes. I know.
We definitely going to talk a lot about fashion. Real quick, though, you know, we're all from Mobile. Me and Frank, we now are no longer living in Mobile. You, however, are still down there. Before we get into fashion, I did want to get your take on what the temperature is like down there with the tragedy that has happened in Mobile with the young teenager getting shot. Have you been able to get a sense of what the reaction has been like with the people down there? Are there any organized protests, anything?
Oh, gosh, yes. Actually, first of all, very sad. You know, something that you always kind of put in the back of your head that, hey, hopefully this never happens, you know, close to home. But, hey, this is now our reality. And they actually have several, you know, organized, you know, vigils or what have you actually going on now. And, you know, the thing that comes to my mind is, you know, my own son. I have a 5-year-old son, and the only thing I can do now at this point is to pray for him and to pray for other, you know, moms and dads that are raising, you know, their children, but especially our boys. So my heart goes out to our city, to Mike Moore's, you know, parents and friends and family. It's just a situation that I think could have definitely been, prevented.
We definitely will, me and Frank will address that more later in the show, but I definitely want to, get the opinion of someone that's actually down there. So thank you for that. Let's get into some fashion, shall we?
Yeah.
My first question for you. Okay, so what made you want to pursue fashion and really take on such a big responsibility as far as a big passion as far as like starting the clothing shop that I mentioned and the blog and giving tips and offering different services? What created that desire for you?
You know, I started taking pictures with my iPhone, you know, showing off my Sunday best. And my friends and family were like, hey, you need to put this online. This is some good stuff. And I was like, nobody wants to see me in my Sunday outfits or what have you. But then I kind of thought about it, and I said, hey, why not? So it kind of turned into me showing off my Sunday outfits, to me showing off my daily outfits, to me then showing women how to dress what they already have in their closet, how to dress their body types. So it just kind of went from there. It went from me blogging outfits, from me hosting events in Mobile, and it just kind of took off from there. And then my friends kind of was like, hey, you want to start our online clothing store? And hey, why not? So it took us actually a year to get everything off the ground and running, because, you know, we wanted everything kind of top-notch, classy. We had to work with a businessman by the name of Melvin Washington, and actually another boutique owner, Jordana Johnson. So they actually kind of helped us to get things off the ground, writing business plans, those pesky IRS forms, and it just went from there, and here we are today.
Now, you mentioned some of the services you offer. I know you offer, like, personal shop sessions, and as you mentioned, like, closet consultations where women can use clothes that they already have, and you help them piece it together. I'm wondering, do you feel like you've reached your ceiling, or do you see yourself eventually trying to become a stylist for some big names, or a fashion designer? Do you want one of those TV shows I see? Like, or do you feel like you found your lane? Like, what is the ceiling for Lashoundra Young?
I think I am almost at my ceiling, but I think the boutique was definitely that point for me. But you actually hit it dead on the nail. I want to host a fashion show, like a fashion police show, or just a show just to empower and just to encourage women that, you know, style is so much more than what we wear. But, you know, it's our struggles, it's our flaws and so forth. So I definitely want to hopefully go into TV when it comes to displaying women and their styles. So definitely, I think once I reach that point, then I would say, hey, I have reached my ceiling. But even then, I believe I can go even higher than that because, hey, the sky is the limit.
And that's interesting that you say that. And this is Frank. I'm jumping in here, Lashoundra. And so
okay.
I want to ask you. I know we said, you know, I could ask you a whole bunch of political questions before we started, but this is an interesting question. It's not totally political. It relates to, I know you had the video campaign when you were doing the thing for Redbook magazine, and I'm going to ask you about that in just a bit, but that was very creative. I think it was awesome. You were getting people to vote, and so they were voting, obviously, for you to appear in the magazine. Now, obviously, the word vote and politics goes hand in hand. So with that in mind, if you were, say, approached by a political figure who you respected, would you, you know, and since fashion sometimes can be political, would you be averse to wearing or supporting a political figure with your fashion or having a certain fashion developed for a political figure you believed in? Is that something you would ever consider or be a part of, especially in today's climate where we want our young people to vote, and having certain people in that position could maybe, how would you say, encourage them to vote and exercise their right?
It's funny that you say that because even when I was doing the whole advertising of me doing the whole Redbook magazine, you know, to encouraging people, telling them to vote for me, I was actually thinking about people voting this November. Would I be this active, or you know, would I be this strong with my advertising and voting this November? And I would definitely consider it, but I would definitely have some type of guard up. I would encourage voting versus voting who to vote for. But I would definitely, or I would consider, you know, being part of that whole exercise your right, vote, because of course it's so important even right now, you know, especially this November coming up is very important. But yes, I would definitely be part of something of that because I think style, I think my platform, I think I can definitely make a mark on our generation and even the younger generation to kind of put the word out there like, hey, she's voting, but surely I can get out there and vote. I can be stylish and vote, sure.
Yeah, I think that's very.
Or however you do it, just vote.
I think that's very interesting that you say that because. Especially, you know, one of the things Byron and I talk about on previous shows, I don't know if you listen to any of those, but you can listen to those on iTunes or any other, or on Google Play or anything like that. But one of the things we talk about is voting in local elections. And obviously, not to backtrack and bring up the situation that just happened in Mobile, but obviously when things like that happen and you have a police chief and a district attorney, those are locally elected officials. So we preach about, you know, on the show about voting in local elections and things like that. And so one of the things that would be interesting is, during this political season, I would ask you and maybe even challenge you to say, hey, would you come up with a political line of clothing like, you know, vote or, you know, somehow factoring in that, you know, for potential marketing because, you know, it'd be popular.
Yes. I am all for that, and that makes so much sense because a lot of my target audience are visuals. If they can see it, then they can believe it. So I think BET, or I can't remember who actually had the slogan, but it was rock the vote, And I think somebody else had another slogan. I can't think of it right now. But, yeah, I think something definitely along those lines will definitely get people to voting. You know, kind of, I guess, put it as it relates to style and fashion. Hey, I can be cool and stylish and fashionable and vote. So, but I would definitely consider that. Hey, I'm considering it right now. I just wrote it down.
Very, very cool. And I'm going to ask you one more question. With as far as the Redbook, everybody wants to know, at least I want to know, we voted, we saw your awesome videos. What ended, can you tell us what ended up happening with that?
I can't say very much, but August would be a great month to pick up a Redbook magazine.
So is that somewhat breaking news right there?
I mean, I like Redbook. I would say pick up a Redbook magazine now. I would say pick up Life issue, pick up an August issue, pick up a September. I mean, just buy Redbook.
Okay.
Get a subscription, basically.
Pick up Redbook, but folks, especially in August and September, you know, take some extra time to check it out if you can. We are talking to Lashoundra Young. She is the co-founder of Shop Inside Out. And by the way, Shop, that's SHOPPE, SHOPPE, shopinsideout.com. Also, fashion blogger where you can pick up tips and, you know, you can check her out as far as the different outfits she's wearing at youngasstyle.com. You can also follow her on Twitter at youngasstyle. Miss Young, you are the wife of a pastor, correct?
I am.
I was curious to know. You sound like you know what I'm going to ask. Maybe you do.
I don't know, but it's just...
Okay. Well, I was curious to ask, and this may not even apply to you at all, but I was curious because some church people can be very, very old school and judgmental. Have you gotten any criticism or comments on how you dress? Not that you dress provocative, but some people think the pastor wife should be in a turtleneck and pants every day. So I wonder, have you gotten any criticism or comments on that directly or indirectly where they may have said it to someone else and it got back to you?
You know what? I have not. I haven't received any inbox messages, any emails. Not saying nobody has said anything. The only thing someone has said, which was maybe a couple of years ago, they said that I dressed too churchy. I said, okay, good, great. But other than that, I haven't had anyone come to me and say, hey, you shouldn't wear that low-cut jumper or your tummy is showing. But no. And I think what people have to realize about me and my relationship with my husband and my Lord is that I think people have to understand that phrase, personal relationship with Christ. And because I have a personal relationship with him, he's going to tell me if I'm right or wrong. And I haven't felt convicted doing anything while blogging or what have you. Now there have been situations where Kendall would say, now, Lashoundra, do you think that's okay to wear? What? then I kind of know, okay, I roll it down a little bit or I'll take it off. But other than that, he is, 100% beside me and supporting me with, the whole blogging thing. And he never say, hey, you look bad, you look trashy or anything. He thinks I look pretty good, actually.
No, you do, and I do. I really mean that by you're very classy. I really encourage people, if you haven't, to check her out, youngasstyle.com. She definitely can give a lot of women some tips. You look great on those pictures.
Thank you, honey. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm going to get you out of here with this one last question. Me and Frank, we feel like we've talked to some interesting and independent women over the last few months. We've talked to Erica Perkins. We've talked to Terry Matthews. We even talked to his sister who owns her own dance studio in Miami, Florida. Mm-hmm. You mentioned earlier, some of the things you hope to do as far as inspiring women feel good about themselves and take better care and attention to how they dress and how they look. I'm curious to know what or who has been, your inspiration, if there's any, and again, just reiterate what it is that you hope to inspire with Young at Style.
Well, if I had to think of any one person in I guess in particular, that would be my grandmother, Charlie Bell Holmes. From, when I was, since, I was a little girl, being a little girl, Clark, LaFleur High School, even college, she always taught, my sister and I, and, even my brother, we are a representation of Christ. We are a representation of her. So no matter where we went, whether it was to the store, down the street, at school, at church, we had to carry ourselves as young ladies and as young men. So that was from what came out of our mouths, what we put on. We had to think about those things before we actually either said them or put them on. So even now, I'm grown, I'm married, I'm with a child, she still, she still inspires me, and of course my sister as well, to, hey, be the best we can be even right now. And if we struggle, we know we can go to God and he will give us strength. We know we can pray because he will then give us strength again, or, whenever we need it. But I would definitely say my grandmother, because even in her worst times, she is the most humble, strongest woman that I know. And she inspires me, even when she didn't have, she wanted us to have. I can remember her, matter of fact, I think it was our prom, our junior or senior prom, but she didn't have enough money, or I don't know what it was, to get somebody a pair of dress shoes or whatever it was, but I don't think she knew I knew this, but she actually called one of her friends to borrow this money, and I remember thinking, wow, that took a lot out of her to even ask anybody for money. All
right.
So that we could be, also we could be happy. And I would never, ever forget that. So that lady inspires me, even to this day. She makes Young at Style, run inside out. All that is because she instilled in us where our strength comes from, my grandmother.
That was a tremendous answer. Thank you for sharing that. Again, we are talking to Miss Lashoundra Young. She is a fashion blogger at youngatstyle.com. Please check that out. You can follow her on Twitter, Young at Style. And also, don't forget to check out their online clothing store, Shop Inside Out. Again, that's SHOPPE, shopinsideout.com. We really appreciate you coming on today.
No, thank you for having me, and please have me again. I appreciate you guys. That makes my heart swell.